Magandang araw po ulit and welcome to another video. And this time siguro pag-usapan natin highlights, ano yung nangyari sa mundo ng desktop computers or sa mundo ng PC for the past months. Okay? And siguro just to summarize or to give you an overview on ano yung mga topics na pag-usapan natin. Syempre, unang-una nandiyan na yung Intel, launching nung Intel na 12th gen generation which is si Alderlake. Okay, pag-usapan din natin yung memory, which is DDR5. Then, pag-usapan din natin sa mundo naman ng GPU is yung nilaunch ni AMD na video card for this month, which is RX 66. Okay, and then, siguro Windows 11, let's have a konting kwentuhan about Windows 11. Is it the best time to upgrade from Windows 10 to Windows 11? Okay, so siguro to begin with, so let's start with Intel. So, this is one of the big events na nangyari sa mundo ng computer wherein Intel launches its 12th generation processor and they named it as Alder Lake. So this launch is very much awaited kasi dito rin natin malalaman kung si Intel is talaga bang magmo-move out na from 14 nanometer na technology down to 10 nanometer na technology. For we know that it's very much awaited. Matagal na po si Intel na gumagamit ng 14 nanometer and when it comes to technology, that one is very outdated na rin kung 2000. But Intel managed to have a different series launch using that one. Okay, so what makes Alder Lake different is that this processor is finally Intel is using the 10 nanometer technology. So mas maliliit na yung components and syempre mas efficient na rin yung when it comes to power delivery at mas powerful yung pwedeng mangyari or mas powerful yung pwedeng ma-deliver ng mga components na with the use of that technology. Okay? So and mukhang hindi naman nabigo. Actually, Intel made a very big hit. And it seems like with the launch of this processor is unti-unti po na si Intel ay bumabalik on top of the competition with AMD. Okay, with AMD processor. So for the past years, si AMD po yung nangunguna when it comes to processor na performance, okay, yung speeds, AMD has it, but right now that Intel launches the new generation of their processors, so mukhang hindi po nabigo si Intel because based on the reviews you make from the other channels po na sinusubaybayan natin, maybe internationally or locally, Intel really make it to be known as the best processor with Alder Lake. So there are different reviews na kung saan tinalo ni Alder Lake yung processing na meron si AMD right now. Okay, so pinakamabilis, okay, when it comes to video rendering, it is proven that faster time yung rendering mo when it comes to the expected. And then if you're going to multitasking, right now, Intel 12 Gen is the best processor if you are really into performance. Okay? Wala lang tayong unit, medyo pricey siya this time, but based on what we've researched, and I think most of the reviewers are agreeing right now that Intel is already on top or back on the competition with AMD. Okay? So another thing is that there are also several features that Intel launched which is bago when it comes to the processor. So that's also one good thing about what Intel did is that because right now, meron na tayong tinatawag na efficiency cores and performance cores all in one CPU. So on the previous trends or on the previous years, ang CPU, meron lang yung tinatawag na performance cores. Siyempre, to make it efficient, so merong lower, tsaka merong higher na boost frequency. But everything is all about performance core. So, unti-unti, Intel is also breaking the trend or the pattern by attempting to have these efficiency cores and performance scores all at the same time. Okay, with the high end or with the high variant ng ating Alderlake processor, so meron po siyang 8 na efficiency cores at meron din siyang 8 na performance core. But this performance core is capable of hyper-threading na kaya pang mag-produce ng another 8 threads, which all in all, meron kang 8 na efficiency cores, 8 performance cores, and 8 na logical threads. So all in all, that's around 24 cores within one CPU package with a different technology. So what makes this one different is that efficiency cores, kung meron ka mga background task or yung mga activities na hindi naman siya masyadong kailangan consume ng processing power mo, so Intel is passing that one to the efficiency cores. So yun yung bahala na mag-process. And then kung mangailangan ka ng performance or you're into gaming, so all that threads or all that processing will be passed dun sa performance core part ng processor. So how it is being managed? So Intel also introduces yung tinatawag nga na Intel Thread Director, wherein this Intel Thread Director that manages everything. Siya na yung bahalang mag-schedule, ano yung ibibigay niya sa efficiency core, ano yung ibabato niya sa performance core, at kung nangangailangan pa ng more performance yung inyong task on the PC, so Intel Thread Director is also utilizing the E-cores, yung efficiency core na hindi ginagamit para makatulong dun sa performance na kailangan mo for a specific task. Okay, so that's one of the good feature, and I think Intel is also bringing on top of the competition with that kind of technology. Okay, what else? So although since there are a lot of power na dinideliver no processor na to, so may mga konting trade-off, no? May mga konting trade-off kasi there's also some reviews wherein yung Alder Lake is merong mga power draw issues. Okay? Pero I think that's expected. Siyempre, the more na mas powerful yung processor mo, the more that it can perform anything. So may konting downside when it comes to efficiency. No? Although it's already efficient, okay, it's already efficient, but still, I think that yun yung mga kailangan nating i-level. So when it comes to power draw, you have to consider the performance. If you're thinking of performance, you have to consider also the power draw. Okay? So one na reviews lang din when it comes to this one. For the power draw issue is that comparing it with AMD, yes, Intel is much powerful when it comes to performance, but kapag si Intel po ay binigay na yung performance na kailangan mo, comparing it to an AMD processor, mas efficient as of now si AMD when it comes to power draw. Okay? So I think you just have to marry na lang or batayan mo na lang as a PC user kung ano yung mga build na i-consider mo. Gusto mo ba ng performance? Go for Intel. Gusto mo ba ng efficiency? So right now, AMD is a more efficient processor comparing that to. Okay? Although it goes hand in hand, no, it's up to you kung ano yung pipiliin mo, kung anong klaseng user ka, no. But I believe Intel is still still in a very kumbaga paumpisa pa nga lang, no, nagsisimula pa lang si Intel, but I believe that the efficiency could still be further improved as months go by. So let's wait for that one, how Intel will with that how Intel deal with that one. Okay? So another one is yung mga cooling options. So if you are an existing user, so meaning meron ka ng mga CPU coolers din, so medyo may konting compatibility lang yung Alder Lake processors if you have an existing CPU cooler. Although from the CPU coolers manufacturers, they are also delivering din yung bracket para ma-support yung Alder Lake. But I think it's not only on the bracket side kasi um, even yung design ng processor, yung Intel Alderlake, is totally different with the previous design ng mga processors na available. So, if you have an existing CPU cooler, you have to check, if you are considering the Alderlake, you have to check kung ano yung compatibility nito. But it is still best, no? It is still best kung bibili ka ng bagong processor, kung kaya ng budget, and it is still recommended to have a new CPU cooler which is compatible already out of the box with Intel Alder Lake. Okay? Kasi because of the difference of the dimension ng ating processor, so may mga konting issues when it comes to the pressure points, yung mounting points, kung saan yung dapat na area na nakatutok yung inyong mga CPU coolers. So that's one factor to consider. And then also at the same time is yung tinatawag nga nila na Z-stack na kung saan mas mababa. Kumbaga mas mababa yung design. So kumbaga before kung yung previous generation ng Intel is ganito siya kataas, but yung new generation is mababa siya ng konti. Okay, kumbaga ito na yung top ng ating processor. So imagine kung ilalapat mo yung CPU cooler mo coming from this level na medyo mataas, going down to mas mababang level ng Alder Lake CPU. So you really have to ensure na tama yung mounting mo so that yung pressure ng thermal paste or yung gap between the processor and the CPU cooler itself is enough pa rin to cool yung inyong processor. Okay? So I think those are the factors that needs to be considered, but since Alder Lake is still on the early stage and I really believe that Intel could still work on, no? And then siguro with the continuous partnership, so may improve yung mga konting issues na na-observe with the launch of Alder Lake. Altogether, with the launch of that Intel Alder Lake is also the launching of DDR5 technology sa ating memory. Okay? Right now, DDR5 is supported by Intel motherboards. Wala pang nare-release na AMD motherboards which supports DDR5. So right now, it goes hand in hand with Intel, with the launch of Alder Lake. So there are boards which are also launched to support the DDR5 memory technology. Okay? So ano yung meron dito sa DDR5 na technology na to? So first, if you wanted to consider DDR5, so this comes with a higher capacity compared to DDR4. So with DDR4, previously I think maximum capacity that we could have on a single stick is around 32 gigabyte. Okay, 32 gigabyte. But for DDR5, it can go up to 128 gigabyte in just one stick. So imagine kung pupunuin mo yung 4 slots ng maximum na 128, so that's around 512 gigabyte of memory, no? So that's more than enough, no, for a typical PC build. Okay, so what else aside from the capacity? So DDR5 also has a higher memory frequency. Okay, so that it can go up to 4800 megahertz. So base clock ng ating DDR5 pinakamababa is 4800 megahertz. So siguro just a comparison na lang din, no? So just a comparison with the memory na nakasalpak sa akin, base clock nito is 2666 megahertz. If you enable yung XMP, it can go up to 3200 megahertz. So yun yung speed ng aking DDR4 na memory. But if you're using DDR5, base clock po nun is 4800. So comparing it with the 3200 to the 4800, so malaki yung difference na agad, no, na makikita natin when it comes to memory frequency. So mas mataas yung pwedeng i-deliver ng ating DDR5 na technology. Okay? Another thing na meron si DDR5 is yung reduced na voltage na pwedeng mag-operate yung memory. Okay? So with the DDR5, it can operate with as low as 1.1 volts. So to compare it with, for DDR4, yung gamit ko, it's operating on 1.35 volts. Okay? Pero may mga DDR4 na sticks that can operate into 1.25 volts. I think that's the lowest volt na pwedeng mag-operate isang DDR4, 1.25. Okay? And then with DDR5, mas pinababa pa po yun into 1.1 volts. So what does it mean? Basically, logically, the lower the voltage, the lower the temperature. Okay? And then, the lower the voltage, mas efficient yung mga components. Okay? Mas nagiging efficient yung mga components. So basically, that's what DDR5 is also trying to deliver in the future, to have a more efficient component delivering a much powerful experience sa isang PC user. Okay? Then what else is that yung tinatawag nga nila na power management module or yung PMIC, okay? With the DDR5, ngayon po, yung PMIC nun, yung chip na yon is embedded already on the memory. So, nasa memory na yung kanyang controller. Unlike nung DDR4, na kung saan yung PMIC is nandun sa motherboard. Okay, so that's one physical difference or functionality difference between DDR4 and DDR5. Okay, so DDR5, nasa RAM stick na yung kanyang PMIC, and then DDR4 is nasa motherboard yung PMIC. That's controlled by the motherboard. Unlike ng DDR5, controlled siya internally dun sa RAM stick and then a part na ng component na yan. Okay? So that's the thing on the DDR5. So if you wanted to consider that one on your build, so I think that's one factor no to consider kasi yun na yung future. Yun na yung mga future. So right now, medyo konti yung stocks, limited yung availability. But in the few months, so makikita na po tayo, raragasan na po sa market yung DDR5 na mga memory modules and also the motherboards which also supports that DDR5. Kasi right now, very few. And I think nga, Intel pa lang ang nagla-launch ng DDR5. So if you wanted to consider that one as of this point, you are luck with Intel processor. Pero good thing naman doon is partner naman na yun no, with the Alderlake. If you wanted to consider yung Alderlake and then DDR5 na combination, that's already available right now in the PC world or in the market. Okay? So another thing na i-discuss natin is yung AMD Radeon GPU. No? So with the challenge na nagmamahalang video card, so AMD launches a budget GPU which is RX 6600. Okay? So this one is targeted for gamers, for the 1080p gamers. So if you are a casual gamer or a mid-range gamer, so this is a video card na inoffer ni AMD, which is syempre budgeted, so mababa rin yung price range niya. Although logically medyo mahal pa rin kasi hindi pa rin naman talaga nag-normalize yung prices ng video card. But this one is priced justly enough, no? Na kumbaga nandun pa rin yung performance na kailangan mo, then yung prices mas mababa pa rin compared dun sa mga existing na GPUs launched in the market. So what's ano yung meron dito sa AMD RX 66 series? First is it's also designed na rin using yung AMD RDNA 2 na architecture. So that's the current architecture or the latest architecture pa rin ni AMD when it comes to delivering yung mga video cards, no? RDNA 2. Okay, so ano pa yung meron dito? So it comes with 28 compute units. Okay? And it operates with 20,044 megahertz. And then it comes with 8 gigabyte na GDDR6 na VRAM. Okay, and then it has a 32 MB infinity cache. Okay, so how does it compares yung factors na yon, comparing it with my build, which is wala akong video card pala. Wala akong video card, so I'm using an APU type. Pero comparing it, yung yung APU ko for the video, it has 8 compute units. So with this video card, this has 28. So from 8 compute units to 28 compute units. So that's a big leap kung ilalagay ko yon, no, sa build ko. From 8 going up to 28. So that's I think around 300, more than 300% to ng upgrade kapag yun yung gagamitin ko na card on my build. And then when it comes to the megahertz or yung speed, yung APU ko is running on 2000 megahertz. Okay? 5700G yung ginagamit ko, so it runs in 2000 megahertz. But this one runs in um, 2044 megahertz. So konti lang yung difference ng frequency, but compute units really matters a lot. Okay? And then when it comes to VRAM, okay, so this one is using 8 gigabyte. Same thing with my APU, I can set it up to 8 gigabyte. It has a shared memory of 8 gigabyte. But what matters here, I think, is yung memory technology na ginamit dito. Kasi for AMD RX 6600, that's already using already DDR6. Pero yung gamit ko, since this is an APU type, so it mainly it utilizes more kung ano yung memory stick or yung RAM stick na ginamit ko, which is DDR4. Okay, and it operates in 1600 megahertz. Okay, what else features for AMD RX 6600 is yung ray tracing capability na to. So ray tracing is introduced first by NVIDIA graphics card, and it becomes a very good hit and well-loved, no, by the users. Kasi si ray tracing, kumbaga meron siyang architecture na kung saan yung light rays or yung lighting effects na tinatawag nga is that there's an algorithm na kumbaga yung bounce or yung lighting na kailangan, mas maganda yung display, yung output na dinidisplay niya if you are viewing yung mga videos or yung mga games into a monitor. So that's what's with ray tracing. So meron na rin po ray tracing na capability itong graphics card na to ni AMD. Okay? So once again, this is targeted for 1080p gamers kasi you can if you are gaming, so you can play games decently with this graphics card. So if you wanted to consider this one, if you're considering the budget, okay, or if you are budgeted, you may also, at gusto mo nang, kung ikaw ay nasa budget at gusto mo nang magkaroon ng video card, so you may also want to consider this type of GPU. Okay? So what else? I think siguro let's now go to Windows 11. Although Windows 11 is launched last month, October, pero siguro ang tanong na lang din is it the best time to upgrade your operating system from Windows 10 to Windows 11? Okay? So, well, there's a lot of features na and performance improvement na dinideliver yung Windows 11. Okay, there's a lot of features, yung mga even the looks, it makes it more simpler. And then yun nga, sinasabi nga is performance. Especially if you wanted to go for 12 gen or yung Alderlake na processor ni Intel. So to utilize po yung E-cores and performance core nun, if you wanted to utilize that one, they partner with Microsoft. Doon sa Windows 11, mas ma-utilize mo yung capability ng Alderlake na processors. Okay? So is it the best time to shift? Well, for me, ako kasi personally, as long as it is not prompting, okay, although that's already available, pero as long as it is not prompting for my system to update, hindi po ako nag-update. Okay? Kasi nga, may mga ano pa rin siya, although there's a promise of performance, of simpler features, But still, at the early stage, may mga possible pa rin na compatibility issues tayo mangyari. But if you wanted to upgrade it, siguro bigyan ko na lang kayo ng tips ano yung mga mga kailangan mo i-consider is that first, you have to take note ng existing na components mo. Okay, and then at the same time, yung mga softwares na ginagamit mo, consider that one kung compatible na rin ba siya with Windows 11. Okay? Kasi nga, since medyo bago pa si Windows 11, so may mga hinihilot pa ng konti si Microsoft para mas ma-tweak or para mas ma-tune in yung mga application compatibility tsaka hardware compatibility and to ensure that the operating system will work smoothly with the existing components that um, that you have dun sa mga upgrade path. But if you're considering a totally new build, new technologies para dun sa inyong system unit or new hardwares para sa inyong system unit, new softwares, okay, which is already compatible or working with Windows 11, so you can go ahead with the straight installation. Pwede ka nang mag-upgrade into Windows 11 kasi wala ka namang kino-consider na compatibility. But if you are an existing user, you have to research that one first na kapag nag-shift ba ako ng Windows 11, magagamit ko pa rin ba yung mga games na nilalaro ko, yung mga applications na naka-install sa akin, is it compatible, magagamit ko pa rin ba siya. Okay, so that's one thing to consider for in my opinion. And then, so I think that's the roundup ng ating topics for this November highlights or November 2021 updates. And this time, pasalamat po tayo sa mga sumusuporta sa ating channel. So shout out lang po sa mga nag-subscribe at nag-interact po sa ating channel for the past month. Okay, so shout out po kay Manuel Bautista, kay AC Channel, kay Farah, kay JR G-Man, paulit-ulit na G-Man, kay Gio Abud, kay Jermaine D. De Los Santos, and Gmail Films. Maraming salamat po for supporting our channel. And that's it for our discussion. I hope meron akong information na na-impart sa inyo. Okay, you may type in yung comment niyo ano yung gusto niyo pang i-discuss natin in the near future or kung meron akong na-miss, just type in into that comment. Okay, at the same time, please like and subscribe to my channel. Maraming salamat po. Thank you and God bless.